Right. I just wanted to give you a few reminders before you post your drafts for the individual article proposal today. I know a lot of you are already finished, but just a few things to look at, especially when considering the example for the individual article proposal. So I'm really looking to just see what your plan is for the semester. I want to know that your estimated word counts for however many articles you're going to write. If you're going to write two or three articles, I want those to add up to 3,500 words total. So that we make sure that you hit the right amount of words for an upper division writing course, and also that you have a plan for how you're going to hit those numbers. So the second thing I'm going to look for are your summaries, and you can have longer summaries here if you need, or if you're having trouble deciding what's important, and then I can help you cut them when we move into the letter to the editor, because that's something that an editor is going to want, something more concise, something that they can look at quickly and get the whole picture. But sometimes that's hard to do in a summary, especially the first time you're writing one. So your summaries can be longer than these, but then the goal is to kind of cut them back. However, if you do cut anything out, make sure you're saving it in another document, because a lot of that content can then go into the articles when you begin to write them. So something to think about. All that content can be really helpful moving forward, especially in hitting the word counts that you're estimating. The next thing I'm going to look for in these individual article proposals are your sources. And I would like for you to have at least two scholarly sources that are original works of research by the primary scientists that conducted those studies. You're welcome to have review studies, but then make sure that you also have at least two primary sources as well. So you can have much more than two sources for each article. This is really just to make sure there's a basis for your research, that you have a topic that is current, that people are talking about, that people are publishing on, that's kind of cutting edge. That's what Scientific American is looking for, and that's what most scientific publications are looking for, especially when they are publishing for wide audiences, because people want to know what's happening now. They've likely heard about some of the older studies, so they want to know what's new, especially as technology is advancing much further. So this one was written probably the first time I taught this course 3 or 4 years ago. And so these dates are something to know. I would like for your dates to be more recent than these. Since the topics are changing so much, you're welcome to have an older one and a newer one to kind of talk about the differences and how far we've come, or if you're breaking a myth or looking at how things have changed since the last time something was published. But making sure that you have one that is extremely recent is going to help your chances of being published and show that you're considering the topics, the importance, and the overall audience. So something to think about as you are researching. Also, a lot of people have found review articles, and those lead to really great primary sources. So don't be afraid to go in to articles and check out their reference pages, and then find articles that way, because they're going to be more connected, more interrelated. You're going to have an easier time connecting the sources and their content when you're writing the draft. So that's definitely something to look at. If you do have a smaller scale application, in this case, this article was written on, there was just one study about something that was happening, and there wasn't another one to look at. Or if you want to focus on one for specific reasons, you can do that in a smaller article that is 500 words or less. So that's the only exception for having at least two primary sources, is if you're writing a smaller article that just requires content from one, or if you're really going to focus on this new study that just came out that no one's ever done before, and talk about kind of how that impacts the science in that field and where we're going to go from there. So those are a couple things to think about. You don't have to separate them in small scale and large scale. You can, if that's helpful to you. You can put them in the order you think they'll appear within your overall issue. If one article kind of leads into the other or provides context for the other one, that one would likely go first. So that's not something that You have to decide now, but you can start thinking about it. And then your titles, of course, can change. They don't have to stay the same, but it's great to just have a working title to kind of carry forward as you're moving through the project so that you keep that focus, even if it changes a little bit here and there. So you're not locked into anything that's in this proposal. It's just a great place to start. Great place for me to see where you're at and what you're thinking. Make sure you have a topic that is going to be one that will be successful for the semester projects. So let me know if you have questions as you're working on these drafts today. You'll get comments and you'll be able to revise them. So we have plenty of time, but just a little overview I think can be helpful.